Now, when it comes to European motorcycles, some folks might be concerned about the reliability. They look at something like an Aprilia and they might think, oh, the dealer network is...
The Fortnite video about the oil? Aprilia bad, man. Really bad.
Why is this my life? Now, this Aprilia did make its meme become not only a dream, but also a reality. The odometer reads 343 miles, and it has a check engine light. But Josh, I don't think it's gonna be that bad, right?
Hopefully not. Yeah. We did call the dealership, and they told us if it's just the light and not like some big message that we're okay, it's probably not a big deal. We rode it the other day, and it's fine.
Yeah.
Doesn't seem to be running weird or anything like that. But nonetheless, that's not a lot of miles to be seeing a check engine light.
It's not great, yeah. So today we're gonna show you what it looks like when you do take your fancy European motorcycle to the dealership to get a check engine light checked out. And again, this thing's under warranty, so we're gonna go see what it's like.
Alrighty, guys. So let's go get this thing checked out. Well, that was the plan. However, it does not appear to be showing the code anymore. So we were riding it not long ago. It did throw a code, and even during our intro to the video, it was throwing the code. And now, after taking it out for a short ride to get it over to the dealership, it's miraculously better. So I don't know, read into that what you will. A little bit weird for us, but I, as a good employee, I'm gonna do my due diligence to make sure that after some riding, the code's not just gonna come right back on. The only responsible thing to do would be to go ride this bike just a little bit extra and see if I can't get the code to come back on. It's a beautiful day in Austin, Texas, so I'm happy to do it. A whole lot worse things I could be doing. I am gonna take this time, however, and explain a couple things to you folks that might be in a similar position as I am / were. As a beginner to intermediate rider, especially having ridden less than like a half dozen motorcycles and such, I think there's a few things that get tossed around on the channel that maybe don't translate all that well. And maybe don't give you enough context to understand what Yammie and Spite might be talking about. And the first of those, let's go South Loop 1. Alrighty. The first of those is when we say a bike is nimble. I mean, I imagine you know what the word nimble means, but how does that actually translate to what you feel when you're sitting on this motorcycle? That wasn't clear to me at all when I was watching the videos because I had only ever ridden my bike, but it actually means it feels lighter in motion and not in motion. It actually feels lighter. It comes across at just about everything that you do. One, it turns a lot quicker and a lot easier. It almost feels like it's falling over into a turn. The heavier and I guess less nimble that a bike would be, the more it wants to just stay upright and continue in a straight motion. So sometimes this bike feels like it's falling over because it's so light and nimble, which is actually a really desirable quality when you're riding. So a nimble bike, lightweight bike, that's what we're talking about. It genuinely feels like you've got less weight you're carrying around. And everything that you do around corners, at a stoplight, look how fast I can wiggle this thing back and forth. Does the cop wave? Oh yeah. Wow, look at that thing. Somebody let me know what kind of bike that was. So the second point that I want to make, that I believe needs a little bit of translation for the newer riders here, is that a bike like this, we often say, is confidence inspiring. Especially when you're not confident on your motorcycle, it's hard to understand how a bike could build confidence for you. But this bike, the 660, has really taught me the most about what it means to inspire confidence from the motorcycle. All right, and the way that translates to me is when we're going through twisties, or even when I'm just turning out of a stoplight or from a stop sign. It hugs the road. it feels like there's some magnetic force holding it onto the road and holding you fixed at whatever angle you're asking it to do. And you feel that coming back from the bike. Because other bikes, I don't know what they don't do that this one does do that would make them less confidence inspiring, but this one absolutely just feels sure in the corner. It feels sure leaned over. You feel like you have the ability to roll on and accelerate. You don't feel like it's unhappy with what's going on. It just feels happy no matter what you're doing. And that's kind of, to me, how I would summarize us talking about a bike being confidence inspiring. Let's get off of here. This is boring. This next road will probably be a much better example of that. All right, get over here. So a faster bike, or a bike that's less confidence inspiring, when you're leaned over, you're kind of just still and waiting. And that's probably a lack of experience on bikes like that, but that's how it feels. Like you're there, you're leaned over, and you're just waiting, and you don't want to hit the throttle, you don't want to lean it further, or anything like that, because you don't want to disrupt what's going on. And that's the feedback that you're getting from the motorcycle, because the inputs like twisting the throttle have such a big effect over the way the bike's moving. But a bike like this, it doesn't feel that way to me. It might to someone who's newer. So the next point is probably something you've already heard a little bit from us, and you probably just brush it off your shoulder and don't really take us seriously when we say that this bike is fast. Because it's only 660 cc's. It's basically a 650 class, a twins cup bike. It's not an R6 or a Gixxer 600, right? So it doesn't have 120 or plus horsepower. And so you think it's a slow bike. I would argue that for almost all applications, this bike is actually faster. Because the way it pulls in the usable range is so much harder than a small inline 4 that you come off every stoplight, every corner, no matter what you're doing, you come off a lot faster. So yes, you're gonna get run down once you start getting up in the high speeds. But on the street, out here riding, out here going to get groceries, out here doing errands, you know, checking for check engine lights and such, this bike is faster than a competition spec 600 Super Sport. Those are 3 points. Hopefully, hopefully there's something in there that's useful. Let's get the bike back to the shop, and we will try and figure out why the check engine light is still not on. Try and get to the bottom of why we don't have a problem. What is that light? Oh, kickstand. Okay. No check engine. I've done at least 10 miles. No, definitely not. Maybe, I don't know. You kind of aren't paying a lot of attention where you're going when you're vlogging. But we've done probably 10 miles. Still no check engine light. So I think it's cured. I fixed it.
Back so soon?
I'm back. The bike is fixed.
It's fixed.
Yeah.
You took it down to the dealership, it's all sorted?
No, I got out and there was no more check engine light. I'm serious, and I rode it around too. I didn't come straight back. I stopped, turned it off, turned it back on. No check engine light, went, ripped around for 10 minutes, had an absolute blast. No check engine light.
It's typical Eurobike life.
Yeah.
Well, to the forums, everyone. Alright, everyone, so apparently the Aprilia has fixed itself. Now, in case you guys think that we're just doing this just for the views, this bike really did have a check engine light. You can actually see it in the clip of us here riding the ZH2 and the Aprilia. You see that right there, Josh. You guys, we'll have our editor put it up on screen here. The check engine light was on and we didn't know what it was, and today was the day we were gonna go and figure out what was wrong with it. But This is something that happens. Sometimes with newer bikes, they throw a code and then it randomly goes away. And the next step you can take, besides going to the dealership, which you can't really go if you don't have a check engine light, right? You weren't gonna go all the way down there and just be like, hey, this bike works perfectly fine. Let me just look at my RS660, right?
Exactly. I can't imagine that they would have done anything for me. They would have been like,
Yeah.
well, would you like to check out a RSV4 1100 while you're here or something like that? But yeah, no, you can't go unless you have a code to read it. And it was there for multiple days. That was a few days ago that we filmed the last video, so.
Yeah, so really the next step you can take is you go online and you see if other people have had the same kind of issues that you've had. So a popular thing to do is find a local forum, find a reputable forum, and start seeing if other people have had the same problems, which this bike is so new that I cannot find anyone else who has had this happen to them. No one else that I've found has had a check engine light pop up and then nothing happened with it and then just go away on its own. If I were to guess, it would probably be that, I rode it pretty hard at the track. Maybe I confused some sensor or some system or something like that. That would be my inclination. Because you said the bike was riding perfectly fine, right?
Yeah, really good.
Yeah.
Yeah, it felt fine. Wasn't doing anything weird at idle. I mean, no signs of, I don't know. You know what you should do is just get yourself a first gen SV that doesn't have a dash. My bike never throws check engine lights.
It just throws itself off a cliff when it won't start, right?
It just doesn't start. But
yeah, it doesn't start sometimes, so that is a big bummer. But we wanted to show you guys that this is a real part of when you buy a motorcycle that's in its first year of production, a European bike, something that's known for being a little bit more quirky or unreliable. And just in case you guys think that Aprilia is just paying the bills over here, because we've made a lot of content with their bikes lately, we like to show you guys the real nitty-gritty of what it's like to own and ride these bikes. That's why we do these beginner bike giveaways and the intermediate bike giveaways, to show what it's really like to own and ride these bikes. We could have just as easily swept this check engine light under the rug, but we wanted to show you guys that something was up with the bike. So, Josh, what do you think our next steps are from here?
Just lose a little sleep over it, honestly. I mean, there's not much we can really do, unless it comes back. We'll watch when we're riding it. I think we've done our research online and shown that there's no common issues that people are coming across. The bike's running well, so if you ask me, I would just ride it.
Yeah. So there you go, guys. Go get yourself an Aprilia because they might be a little quirky, but they are fun to ride and they do work. And honestly, new bikes nowadays are very reliable. They're very good. Most new motorcycles are not going to have crazy issues pop up in the first couple months or even years of ownership. So yeah, I guess we're just going to keep riding the Aprilia and we'll catch you on the next one. See you later. 343 miles on the clock, so it is a bit strange to see. What happened?
The wind.
Oh, the change in, okay.
It might be kind of funny if I shut. Did you see that Fortnite video?
That'd be funny. Aprilia bad, you know? Alrighty, everyone, when it comes, I think I already said already, everyone, in the beginning. Okay, I won't do that again.
But like you said, that's not a lot of miles and it is showing a code.
Where is the trash?
The trash? It's right over here. Or do you mean the dumpster?
Oh, el dumpster.
Oh, the dumpster's around the corner over here. If you go and out here to the right and then you take another right, it's right over there at the end.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome. We're rolling?
We're still rolling.
One more time, just like Daft Punk said. All right, from the top. Okay. Now, when it comes to European motorcycles, sometimes we get worried. Are you smirking?
I'm trying not to.
I felt it. I felt it. All right. You good? We got the giggles out. Everybody good?
Yeah.
You good? You good?
Yep.
All right. I gotta make sure I got it out.
Yeah.
Okay. Between this and my desert sled, you might think I'm just some horrible biscotti boy, but really, if you click this video right over here, I will prove to you that I love more motorcycles than just Ducati biscottis. Click it and find out.